Hey friend, this is episode number 546 of the And So podcast with Taylor Bradford. Let's get to it. Boss Girl Creative presents And So with Taylor Bradford, business and life musings from a successful serial entrepreneur. Each week, you will hear Taylor spill the tea on all things business, life, relationships, health, and everything in between. But don't worry, each week also includes a business nugget that will help you stay on course. And now a throwback to 3-year-old Taylor who inspired all of this.
And so,
Can't think straight? Don't scroll, don't post, don't Google. Pull a prompt from the Clarity Code instead. It's an $11 deck of spiral-stopping questions made to help you reset in 5 minutes or less. Clarity isn't complicated, it just needs a cue. Grab your deck at bossgirlcreative.com/reflection. Hello, friend. Welcome to this episode of the podcast. I'm your host, Taylor Bradford. I'm so grateful that you are here. This is Thanksgiving week in the U.S., and I am in charge of the turkey. I think I kind of volunteered myself for the turkey. Actually, I think I kind of volunteered myself a couple years ago to be the one that cooks the protein. So here we are. I am going to be smoking the turkey. I think I've done a turkey breast in the past, but I've never done an actual full bird. So it is thawing right now, and it will go into it's not a brine, it's milk base, and I cannot think of the word that people use for that. It's like splotchnik, or it sounds German or Polish. Anyways, that will be the next step, and then I will season it and then put it in the smoker. So I got to figure out timing because I've honestly never done this. Thankfully, Saturday is our Thanksgiving, not Thursday, so I have flexibility, and we're not eating until late afternoon, so I really have flexibility. I could be like, the bird is not ready yet. So that's that. I am in charge of the turkey. I think I am also in charge of mac and cheese and making sure I have a gluten-free option for my sister-in-law. And I think I'm going to do deviled eggs. And what else did I think I was going to do? I'd like to do a dessert, but we'll see. The turkey is kind of a big thing to tackle. So, cranberry, the kind out of a can. That's what I will be doing. Let's talk about what's been going on in my world since I chatted with you last week. So I did finally get to meet with my framer. It's been over a year since I've seen him in person, and he came out to check on the build process, and I got to ask him some questions about kind of what showed up on his lumber bid and just some other things that I wasn't 100% certain that we would be doing or needing, and so that made me feel good to have that conversation with him. I am still trying to figure out metal soffit for our porch. Our porch is 12 feet wide, and it wraps 2 sides of my house. One full side, the 45-foot side, and then part of one of the long sides, but not all the way. And so the soffit that my builder was going to use, I wasn't thrilled with, and so I've been trying to search for a solution, and I have found some metal soffit panels that I have pricing now on both, thankfully, so I just need to talk to my husband about which direction. I don't mind the more cost-effective route, which is just a solid metal panel. And I would be totally happy with that because once it's installed, like how often are you looking at your ceiling on your porch? But then also I got a quote for a metal wood look panel, and it is double in price. Well, not really fully double, but it's sort of double in price, but not quadruple in price as the composite that I got a quote for. So It sounds to be a little bit more expensive than what the most cost-effective one is, and the most cost-effective one sounds in line with what my builder was going to be spending on it. So we may be going that route, or we may upgrade. I don't know. I need to talk to my husband. But at least now I have a solution. And then I wanted to meet up with another mason to get a chimney quote, and he stood me up. I literally was out there for an hour. It started to pour down rain, and I talked to him on the phone. I even sent him, I dropped a pin for him. I sent him a pin to where I was, and he ignored the pin. And then, so my address will send you somewhere that is not my house, like nowhere close. It sends you to like a gas station. And if you don't type it in exactly how I tell you to, and that's why I gave a pin, like, because I know most people don't. And he didn't use the pin, and so I have no idea where he was, but I waited for an hour. And thankfully, it was the day my framer randomly showed up. So it wasn't all for naught, but I got on the phone with him, and I was like, bro, I gave you a pin to where I'm at, and I started screenshotting where I was in relation to where I thought he might be, and he still, like, he made no effort. And then he's like pushing to get rescheduled. And I'm like, bro, I don't like my time wasted. Like, but he's kind of like, I have to have a quote from somebody. I'm not getting very far. It's really frustrating. Welcome to house building, by the way. And if you're not familiar, in the garden. So this past weekend, I was able to transplant out the rest of my broccoli plants, which turned out to be about 8 more plants. And then I had 4 cabbage plants that I needed to get in the ground. So all of that's transplanted out. And then I also seed started, direct sowed my onions. So I did quite a bit of yellow onion. That's really the onion that I use the most in my cooking. But I also started white onions and red or purple onions. So I think I am a month overdue with direct sowing those guys in the ground. However, we have been incredibly warm, and I think it's going to work. So fingers crossed, we'll see. This is my first attempt to direct sow them into the ground like this. I did onion sets last year, and I don't remember exactly when I did the onion sets, but yeah. So there you have it. That's what's going on in the garden. I finished Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. I gave it 4 stars. I feel like Emily Henry's writing, she's a good writer. She really truly is a good writer, but I felt that this one had a little bit more mystery to it, which I appreciated. I wish it would have had a little bit more. I'm not really into the romantasy novels. I used to like to read romance books. But not so much anymore. Like, I've really steered towards murder mystery and crime and FBI, spy, lawyer, CSI, that kind of stuff. And so I kind of have been steering away from anything that's overly romantasy. And usually her books have a little bit of that in there, but I did appreciate kind of the mystery that was in that book. So 4 stars, Great Big Beautiful Life, Emily Henry. The other thing I have to be mindful of when I read Emily's books, actually it's more because I listen to Emily's books and she rehires the same narrator. It's very challenging when I remember how that narrator speaks to know that I'm listening to a new character set. Like, the men's voices this woman is able to create are similar to what she's created in the past. So it's very hard when you are musically inclined to hear something that you've heard before to realize that they need to be like a new character. Like, you need to like step out of that last book you listened to and now attach a brand new character set to that voice. That's actually challenging. I don't have that problem with movies. Obviously, actors play a lot of different characters in movies. I don't have that problem because I can see the story playing out in front of me. It's books. It is so wild how that works. And finally, a course update. So my biggest course asset, which is asset number 4, is finished. It's the planner, the garden planner of my course. And so now I actually just got that back today, and I will be sending over for a quote to do asset number 5. We're chugging along. It's going a little bit more slowly than I anticipated, but it is what it is. And onwards we go. I did start teasing that I do have a course coming in my Reels and TikToks, just so that I can start having a conversation and seeing if I can get any interest through a wait list. I don't even have a wait list set up. I don't have any kind of email nurture sequence set up for a wait list. So I would be creating that on the fly if anybody actually used the word waitlist or DM'd me the word waitlist. But I thought I would just stick it out there into the universe and see what would happen. Okay, let's move over into Search Bar Confessions. So I have been a curious human about juicing lately. I would love a juicer. I had one when I lived on the road down in, where was I living? Conroe, Texas. And I had one then, and I don't know, did I take it back? I don't know where it went, to be honest. I have no idea where the juicer went. I had one. I don't know where it went. I would like another one. And I've been following the balanced routine. And this is what her name, Melissa Riley, certified health and nutrition coach, helping inflamed, bloated, exhausted women rebuild with real food. Substack bestseller, health coach, monthly coaching membership, free guides. Anyways, if you don't follow her on Instagram and you're curious about teas and juice, and from actual, you do the juicing, I found her through a Nature's Gatorade post and then just started following her. And I have been drinking one of the beverages. I think it's more for your adrenals. I've been drinking one that she has in her Instagram. She also has a book that you can buy. It happens to be on sale right now for the Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all that thing that's happening right now in the world that seemed to have started 3 weeks ago for everybody. And it's a great list of beverages, teas and juice drinks and that kind of thing to just nurture your body from the inside out. Anyways, the adrenal one is 2 oranges juiced. It is a 1/4 teaspoon of pure mineral salt, Celtic sea salt, or an actual true sea salt. And also a 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar, and then put ice, mix it all up, and then top it off with filtered water. It's supposed to be drank in the morning, and it helps to allow your adrenals to actually do what they're supposed to be doing. The cream of tartar gives your body potassium. Obviously, the orange juice gives you vitamin C. The sea salt is the actual electrolyte, which all of that works together flawlessly to help your body actually absorb electrolytes. It's actually really delicious. You do not taste the cream of tartar whatsoever. It does kind of taste like an orange Gatorade, and the salt is just enough. It works so well with the oranges. It's crazy. I've never had salt on my oranges, but I've been drinking this quite often, and it's truly delicious and not hard to make at all. And she's got a couple more that I'm like, ooh, I want to try those next. And then I was like, maybe I need a juicer. So we'll see about the juicer part. I don't need another big gadget until I have a place for a big gadget. But I would like a juicer. So if anybody's listening and they work for a company that makes juicers, hit your girl up. I would like a juicer. So I also wanted to know how to juice a pomegranate. All that to say, Search Bar Confessions, how to juice a pomegranate. And yeah, you would think outside of having a juicer that there would be a way to actually juice a pomegranate without having to actually take apart the pomegranate. No, you cannot get away from that step. You have to still take apart the pomegranate. I also Googled metal soffit panels because I'm in that place with my build. I Googled replacement parts for our Instapack 900. Let me tell you, this should be a podcast episode in and of itself. This company, Sealed Air, they make this Instapack stuff so that you are shipping with foam, and they have a lot of different options. Their systems, if you bought brand new, are very expensive, but you can find things on eBay, you can find things on resellers, which is how we found our setup. Our setup works. We did have to get foam, which that was not cheap. And so we got it in, we got our foam in, we cleaned it to the best of our ability. We didn't have a user's manual, so we were just like Googling, right, how to make this machine work and what do we need to do. And long of the short is that we need replacement parts. We got it to work, but it quickly gunked up, and I don't know how long it had been sitting, and these machines have to get used. Otherwise, you're constantly cleaning, which is going to be us because we're not going to be using it every single day. But I need replacement parts. So, of course, I go to Sealed Air to figure out how do I get replacement parts. They do not make it easy to get replacement parts. We are 2 weeks into trying to get replacement parts, and they are locked down tighter than Fort Knox. It is so crazy how challenging it is for a consumer to get replacement maintenance parts. I'm not even talking about foam. I'm talking about making their gadget actually work. The usable items that wear out, like your O-rings and your gaskets and your filters. All of these things are wearable items. I need to replace said wearable items. How do I do that? So I have a supposed rep who's not been helpful. And we got our foam from a third-party distributor. And this guy has been like really anxious. The rep I have, he's been really anxious about like hounding me about what it is we have. Send me the serial number. When you get it, I can help walk you through setting up. And I'm like, bro, we're really kind of smart humans. Your machine is not that hard to figure out. It's really kind of intuitive, and there's not a whole lot that goes into it. Like you turn it on and you press the button once the machine is warmed up. That is literally all you do. And if it has a failure, it will stop what you do and tell you what's wrong. Like it is really intuitive. And so I said, bro, I need to get replacement parts. How do I do that? I've already filled out the form. You should have already like sent me in. And like, I feel like there's so many roadblocks that don't need to be there. Why is it this hard to get replacement parts? And you cannot just Google for replacement parts. The one company that we actively sell our electronics to is a company that used to be able to buy the products from Sealed Air. Sealed Air didn't like it, so they stopped selling them to them. Like they stopped allowing them to be a third-party distributor. So frustrating. So I called a guy up who sold us our foam, and I was like, how can you help me? How do I get past Fort Knox? I don't understand why this is this hard. I already told this man I'm a hobby shipper. I'm a hobby shipper. I don't do this full time for a living. So I'm going to have to be cleaning these parts over and over and over to make sure it still works. And I'm going to need replacements that I can easily access. So I told him, he asked me, well, what foam? So I can see which cartridge that you're going to need. And I didn't know, I wasn't supposed to say what foam I was using. And it was like OSHA. He was going to call OSHA on me. Oh, that foam isn't meant to go through our system. And it's not properly like, oh my gosh. I was like, yeah, this is not a good look for you, Sealed Air. Not a good look to make it this challenging. And the guy I was talking to about the foam, he said to me, I have longtime customers who have been with Sealed Air for over 10 years and they don't have problems like this, but new customers have problems like you're describing. He said, I don't understand why they're making it this hard for you to get parts. It's not like you're buying in bulk in huge quantities. You just need the parts. I'm like, I don't understand. Why can't you not just give me your parts? I don't have any warranties at play. You still make the system. So legally, by United States law, you have to supply parts. Like, if a washer and dryer if the model is phased out, the manufacturer by law is required to continue to make available OEM parts for 10 years past the time they discontinue a model. 10 years. Beyond that, good luck. Then you get into people remaking those parts. But by law, the manufacturer has to produce them for 10 years. My unit is still produced. This shouldn't be this hard. So anyways, I was Googling for replacement parts for it. And then I wanted to know how much is in a bushel of peppers. I saw somebody asking if anybody knew anybody that had a bushel of peppers. And I'm like, well, I got a ton, like jalapeno peppers. It's like, I have a ton of jalapeno peppers, but I don't know if I have enough for a bushel. And so a bushel of jalapeno peppers, in case you are also curious, is 80 to 110 peppers, depending on the size. So there you go. I also Googled what role is Brie Larson playing because she has the cutest pixie cut right now. And that was solved for me. She was doing something over in Europe. I think it was some kind of live production of a play or something. And she, at one point, really got into her role and shaved her hair off. So now it's a cute pixie. She's growing it back out, in case you were curious. And then I had to Google, can you change window grids in brand new windows? Because we did a window install and I made an order for a customer before we made her big order. And we had a bunch of back and forth on what her grids were going to look like. And not even thinking that there would be an issue with the 6 I had already ordered. And we got 2 of them installed and she sees them and the grids aren't right. So I have to fix grids that is actually not my fault. Because she signed the contract agreeing to the 6 that I had to rush order. And yeah, so now I get to pay to put brand new glass in brand new windows with the type of grid she actually wants. So that's fun. And then I don't know if you've seen on Google or Instagram or Facebook or anywhere you consume your content, but that Camp Snap video camcorder thingy, it's really it's very vintage looking. I was like, you know what? I think that will be one of my Christmas gifts to myself, but I couldn't remember the name of it. So I was Googling camcorder. Like I knew it started with camp, but I couldn't remember the rest of it. So I Googled camcorder. So in case you're wondering, it's called Camp Snap and it's the CS8 point and shoot video camera. It is so cute. It really looks like something from the 50s. And I did see an influencer, she got one and did a montage for a friend's 40th birthday. And it has like a vintage vibe to it and like to the actual video. I'm really excited to have that, especially with my nephew now like really being active and starting to chatter. And I think it's going to be really fun to have. And then finally, what is the difference between Gen 1 and Gen 2 Ray-Ban Wayfarers by Meta and Ray-Ban? We have the Gen 1, and when they first came out, my husband bought them. He was going to use them for roofing so that he could have his hands available while he was climbing up a roof and been able to take pictures or tell it to take pictures and videos. Well, when they first came out, they only recorded 10 seconds at a time. Now you can update your software on the Gen 1s to record up to 3 minutes. And I was really wanting that as my other Christmas gift, but I'm like, we have these sitting here. I can go ahead and just use what we have. And I don't think we put prescriptions in them, but they are definitely the ones that go from daytime to outdoors, whatever that's called right now, transition lenses. And I would really like to be able to record when I'm in my garden and it's not convenient for me to harvest at the same time as recording. So I would love to be able to like get up in the plants and show you what I'm seeing. And I think that would be a really great way to do that. So yeah, Christmas gift to me, something we already have. I just have to update the software. And that wraps up this week's Search Bar Confessions. And now let's move into this week's business nugget. I want to talk about the monotony of being an adult and how that is magnified when we hit winter season when we start losing daylight. So I know that seasonal affective disorder affects a lot of people, especially some of my friends in the Northeast. But truly, if you are like me, if you kind of live by the sun, this time of year, your body wants to just really hibernate. Like at 5:30, I'm like ready to go to bed. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like my body starts putting myself through its paces of let's wind down. Let's take a chill pill. Let's get ready for bed at 5:30. It makes it really, really hard. But the other part to that is when you become an adult, and you're in your groove, you're in your 40s. I don't know that I really necessarily saw this in my 30s. I definitely see this in my 40s. You are in your groove and you wake up and you get ready and you go do the thing that you do for your work. And then you come home and you do dinner and you get ready to go to bed and then you sleep. And then it's rinse and repeat. I think that can catapult us into a direction that could be very challenging to step out from. And I don't think it's talked about all that much. So one of my good friends, Alicia, I actually just poloed this, and I want to see if I can like insert some of my polo to her recently. She's somebody that I talk to almost daily via Marco Polo. She's the person that I'm able to just like pick up the polo and start poloing, and I know she'll listen to it when she gets time and vice versa when she polos me back. But she is that human for me that I am able to just pick up the phone and polo, and I don't have to interrupt her day. I'm not sending text messages. I'm not trying to get her on the phone. And it's truly me just like spitfiring whatever it is that's on my mind and allowing myself to just like release whatever chatter is going on, and she'll listen when she can. And honestly, if she doesn't listen, it doesn't bother me. It just allows me to get whatever it is on my chest off my chest. But this particular topic came up because we are in this season, and I do see this for her specifically. This happens every fall, and I feel like I'm like the cheerleader to be like, don't fall into the trap. And it started me thinking about this monotony of wake up, rinse, and repeat. Wake up, rinse, and repeat. And how in the world, especially in your 40s, in your 50s, in your 60s, do you keep life interesting? How do you keep life interesting when it's the same day in and day out? Because usually when you're in your 40s, you've got a groove with whatever it is you're doing for work. You have a groove with whatever your relationships are. You've got a groove figured out, but that's what it is. It's a groove. It's the grind over and over and over. Same thing day in and day out. And how do you like burst through that? You have to be so intentional with your time. And you have to be like, okay, you know what? On Mondays, I'm going to the library and I am going to sit there and I'm going to read for enjoyment for 2 hours before I do anything about dinner or after I complete dinner. And on Tuesdays, it's going to be date night. We're going to be doing whatever it is that we come up to do. And Wednesdays is going to be our TV show catch-up day if you're into watching any kind of TV shows. And then Thursday is something, and then Friday is something. I feel like if we do not intentionally create the lives we want to be living based on what we want to be doing, we will fall into these ruts of rinse and repeat. And it can be like, what is the point? Like you can get yourself to what is the actual point? I am doing the same thing over and over and over. And like, where is joy in life? You know, happiness, I've talked about this a lot in past episodes. Happiness is very fleeting. Joy is what can sustain you. So how do you capture joy? And I think it all comes down to you being intentional with your time and saying, this is what we're going to do, or this is what I'm going to do on this day. And this is what I'm going to do on this day. and like give yourself something to look forward to so that you can keep your life interesting. Saying yes to when a friend asks you to go out for dinner or you get invited for cocktails, or like make the freaking effort to do that. So now here is my little TED Talk that brought up this whole topic. So I feel you being stuck in the rinse and repeat. And I don't have a solution for you. Like you're the one that has to create the solution. And I don't know if you need to take solo date nights for yourself. I don't know if you do a weekly game night or a weekly, like, be intentional with what you're going to do so that you have something to look forward to every single week. Like that, I think, is something really huge, because you can make that be whatever you want it to be. And then it becomes something different. And then you look forward to those days. I mean, that's how I always set up blogging. So I wouldn't get freaked out. Like Mondays was, I would write about such and such. Tuesdays, I would do something else. Wednesdays was something else. Thursdays was about books. So it allowed me to have something to look forward to explore in that particular day. So what if you choose, and I realize the caveat of having school, which is going back to that sacrifice thing, and are you going to be benefiting from it in the future? And I know for a fact that you will. So, just keep going. But how in the moment now, until you get there, which is not that far away, but I think that would be very beneficial to you, is what can you do right now in your life, currently as it is, that you can look forward to each week and you don't get stuck in this rinse and repeat. And I know it's because we're in dark season and you do like to hibernate in this season, but also this is when you start battling seasonal affective disorder. And how do you help yourself prevent that? And it's by creating the environment and creating those days. That would be my best advice, is don't let yourself get into the feels. I know that it is very challenging to not. But how can you set yourself up each week to have stuff to look forward to? That way you're not rinsing and repeating in the manner you currently are. So what do you do to change? What do you do to infuse? And it doesn't have to be some grand gesture, right? It just needs to be something that you look forward to, because Friday nights is pizza night. Thursday nights is no TV and we are both reading a book. Wednesdays, I'm taking myself to do whatever, to go to a coffee shop and just do whatever. Journal. Tuesday nights, something else. Like, make your life what you want it to be. And there you have it. My TED Talk on the topic, live via Marco Polo. Hey, one more thing. Most of the women I work with aren't confused because they're lazy. They're just confused because they're carrying too much. The Clarity Code is a deck of reflection prompts I made for those exact moments when the noise is too loud and the next step feels impossible. You don't need a new blueprint. You need just one honest question. Grab your deck at bossgirlcreative.com/reflection and come back to yourself. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a great rest of your week.
And Phil, let's go. Let's go.
And like my 3-year-old self said, that is all for this week. Friendly reminder to rate and review my show wherever you are listening. And last but not least, I'd love to hear from you. Leave me an audio message at bossgirlcreative.com/speak. I would love to hear your takeaways, ideas for upcoming episode topics, and your feedback. Thank you again for listening to this week's episode. And until next time, I hope you have a great rest of this one.